I think my smile says it all because what a performance this has been from Rajasthan Royals. I think it's fair to say that it's a complete performance by them, restricting a side like Kolkata Knight Riders, who gave away a very, very good fight to Chennai Super Kings the other day on the same wicket at only 133 runs, and then coming to bat and scoring 134 runs in mere 18.5 overs with 6 wickets in hand. That is a performance by Rajasthan Royals. Second win in 5 games, but they have ended their campaign in Mumbai on a high. And to discuss all of it, I've of course been joined in with our expert Monty Panesar and of course Ashwin and Arohi joining us all the way from Delhi and Mumbai. Monty, I'll start with you. Your Dada, the one who happens to be the Dada of UK, is failing time and again for Kolkata. Once again, a poor show in the batting department as well. Couldn't face a delivery, and of course, captaincy is not up to the mark. 5 games done and dusted. Only 1 game in favor of Kolkata. 4 games they have lost, and it is looking a very, very worrying sign for Kolkata Knight Riders.
Yeah, it looks quite worrying, and I think they've obviously, the next 4 games are going to be in Ahmedabad. So I'm hoping that they will able to now assess what their best, 11 is, depending on the conditions. Obviously, yeah, batting is going to be a bit of an issue for them, but we saw with Punjab, they were in a similar position last year where they kept on losing first few games, and then suddenly once they start winning the first one, they got on a roll. So. Kolkata will be, bitterly disappointed. I think Owen Morgan probably has to now kind of find a way of thinking, should I go up the order? Or, he's captaining the team really well. He, as a captain, he's doing great. Nearly, got the game really close there. But it's the batting again. It's the young Indian domestic players. They are just not up to the mark. These young players who are in the Kolkata team right now, apart from Shubman Gill, Rana, even Rana, he's inconsistent. Every sort of, you look at every team, they have consistent players. They're just not good enough. These Indian youngsters who are in the KKR team are just not good enough at the moment, in my opinion.
Monty, I fairly don't agree to the statement made by you, and I really want to know from you as why that is coming out of your mouth. Because if we see Shivam Mavi seems to be performing really well for the side, then Prasidh Krishna is doing well, Varun Chakravarti is doing well. We can say Shubman Gill has failed, but other than that, almost everybody seems to be performing. After the third game, Nitish Rana was the orange cap holder, and on the other hand, Rahul Tripathi has also smashed a good half century for them. So I think all in all, the team is coming out really well individually, because if you see Andre Russell performed well in the last game, then Pat Cummins also performed really well. But when it comes to togetherness, when it comes to performing together, I think Kolkata is failing by a margin.
Well, this is my whole point. That's what I meant, that the Indian players are just individually performing. They just look after their own performances. They're not thinking, oh, how can we as 11 players, we need to get over the line. How do we do that? That's what they got to think. And I think they're just worried about their own positions in the team and not really, thinking that. And the onus is always on Owen Morgan. Oh, he's not getting the runs. He needs to be higher up the order. Let's blame Owen Morgan for everything. Owen Morgan is captaining the team very well. It's the top order, the top 3. Look at that, 36 of 26 balls. He's in. He should be batting all the way through, but he's not doing that. We've got Nitish Rana. He got himself in, got himself out again. And that's the problem. The problem is that these top 3 right now, one of them got a bat. They've got to carry the bat through at least 3/4 of the innings. Then they can start building a total. Then the likes of Andre Russell, Dinesh Karthik, Pat Cummins, all of these guys can start whacking the ball out of the ground. Because of the top 3 are getting starts and then just getting out, it's like putting the onus on Owen Morgan. But then that's not how you're going to win games. Everyone has to play their role. All 11 got to work together to win, not just, have individual performances and then afterwards blame Owen Morgan for everything.
Ashwin, I really want to understand from you as what are your thoughts, because there is a smile behind that, and that smile comes. So I really want to know what are your thoughts on it.
No, I partly agree with Monty, not entirely, and partly why? Because yes, if you see somebody like Shubman or Rana at the top, any franchise, if they want to succeed in the IPL, they have to give consistent starts at the top because that's where the momentum really picks up. If even one out of your two openers lose their wicket early, you've lost the momentum. You lost the steam, and then your team is immediately under pressure. So that's something that I agree with. That if your openers, both of them in this case, not even one, both of them in this case, are not firing in each game, then it's immediately putting so much pressure on the middle order. And they know that they now have to save the game because both the openers are consistently losing their wickets. In fact, they're the second highest wicket losers in the power play in this tournament. So yes, partly I agree there.
Acha,
But
who is at the bottom? Is it Hyderabad?
no, the worst has been Rajasthan. The worst is
Oh, all right.
Rajasthan, and the second worst is Kolkata in terms of losing wickets in the power play. So yeah, I agree with Monty there that the openers need to fire. But talking about captaincy, no, I do not agree that the captaincy is great. Even if you see today's game, Prasidh Krishna, who's been the most consistent performer with the ball today, Vedant, came to bowl in the 13th or the 14th over. That was a shocker of a move, in my opinion. When you're defending a target as low as 32 or 133, sorry, you have to get your best performing bowler right up front. And Prasidh Krishna, by the way, has taken more wickets than even Pat Cummins in this tournament. And he's coming to bowl in the 14th over. That is a shocker of a move. And even Pat Cummins comes to bowl his third over, who's supposed to be your strike bowler apparently in this lineup, comes to bowl his third over only when there's less than 30 runs to defend. So I see a lot of problems with their tactics. Bowling tactics completely off, in my opinion. Batting tactics completely off. You're trying to send Narayan up the order, trying to make him save the game. You're sending Russell after the 17th over. What kind of tactics are these? This is poor captaincy, is poor management, in my opinion. I mean, I hate to say it, but you need to sack McCullum. To be very honest, you need to sack McCullum after this season, in my opinion.
Well, before we move on to ROE, it's time to look at the scorecard once. What exactly happened in the game? So, of course, Kolkata Knight Riders batted first. Nitish Rana along with Shubman Gill started off the innings. And as you can just understand in the atmosphere it is, they are not performing well. 22 of 25 deliveries for Nitish Rana, 11 of 19 deliveries for young Shubman Gill. A lot of talent, a lot of talent. We expect him to do well, but seems like a season with Prithvi Shaw had in IPL 2020, Shubman Gill is having in 2021. When we talk about Rahul Tripathi, may have scored 36 of 26 deliveries, but I fairly agree with the point made by Ashwin and Monty Panesar that he had to continue from there and probably help Kolkata reach that 150, 160 mark. Then Sunil Narine coming at number 4 ahead of Owen Morgan, Dinesh Karthik and Andre Russell. A big worry for Kolkata side. And then, of course, Owen Morgan, diamond duck for him. Did not even face a delivery and got out. And then, of course, Dinesh Karthik has looked in some form, and it's a very good sign for Kolkata because somebody like Dinesh Karthik starts to contribute, then another 15-20 runs add in the last 2 overs because he's a very good batsman when it comes to facing deliveries in the death overs. Then, of course, Andy Russell, once again, he failed. He might have scored in the last game, but he hasn't been consistent in this season thus far. Then, of course, Pat Cummins, Shivam Mavi, and Prasidh Krishna couldn't contribute much. But just see, Rajasthan's bowling attack as well. Chris Morris, 16.25 crores, and once again, he has shown the world why that 16.25 CR has been given to him. 4 overs, 23, and picked 4 important wickets. Wicket each to, of course, Jaidev Unatka, Chetan Sakaria, Mustafizur Rahman as well. And all in all, a complete performance by Rajasthan bowlers. 134, they chased down the target very easily. And the one thing which actually comes into my mind is Sanju Samson is coming back to form, and that's a good sign for Rajasthan. They need their captain to step up. 42 of 41 deliveries, and the best part about this innings is He was unbeaten. He will be going in with some confidence before the next game comes. Not the best of bowling cards to look if you are the Kolkata fan, of course. Arohi, before I ask tactical question, one question which you might be able to tell our users, girls are very good with attire and everything, and that's the reason this question I'm asking from you. Owen Morgan is wearing two caps. Okay, now when he's wearing two caps, not even one cap fails whenever he's diving. How is that possible?
I think he's very cautious of those caps, and I think those caps are one of the either the purple cap or the orange cap. He's mistaken those caps with the other caps. That is why he's being very cautious when he's diving, and that is why nothing's coming out of his head. It's everything is in head. It's not coming out, and probably that is why Kolkata is not winning. You understand? It's like a longer connection than you think it is.
Acha, is there any fix or something that we can do to probably have two caps and then it will not be removed? Any tips you would want to give to our fans as well that they can probably have two caps along?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll ask you the questions which are more.
But one cap has fallen, Vedant. One cap fell while diving. It was a thinking cap. The thinking cap has fallen. The thinking cap has fallen.
Did he wear?
You have to ask McCullum that.
That's the question. Anyway, taking the discussion forward, आरोही आपसे मेरे को ये वाली बात समझनी है. संजू सैमसन जैसे कि मैंने कहा एक बार फिर फॉर्म में लौट रहे हैं. कितना अच्छा साइन ये हो सकता है राजस्थान रॉयल्स के लिए. 42 रन्स बनाए 41 गेंदों के अंदर. क्या लगता है यहाँ से कैसे कंटिन्यू करना चाहेंगे? बिकॉज परफॉर्म और एक्सप्रेस हम अपने आप को हर मैच में करना चाहते हैं पर थोड़ा ज्यादा कर जाते हैं. क्या लगता है कैसे कंटिन्यू करेंगे यहाँ से?
आज काफी हेड स्ट्रॉन्ग और काफी स्टेडी इनिंग्स रही है कप्तान की. तो आई थिंक दिस विल फर्स्टली मोटिवेट द एंटायर टीम. एंड इफ यू सीन टुडे हाउ वेल द टीम इज परफॉर्म, आज एक पूरा यूनिट लग रहा था. पता है, आज इंडिविजुअल परफॉर्मेंसेस नहीं दिख रहे थे. और आप स्कोर कार्ड भी देखेंगे तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि चेन्नई के जैसे स्कोर कार्ड होते हैं, एवरीबडी इज पुटिंग इन समथिंग और द अदर. आज वैसा स्कोर कार्ड था. तो आई थिंक काफी डिस्कशन हुआ है टीम में और काफी कुछ बॉन्डिंग सेशंस हुआ है, बिकॉज यू कैन सी दैट कनेक्शन. वन मैच में योर एंटायर आउटकम ऑफ हाउ यू विन एज अ टीम इज चेंज्ड. और वो क्यों होता है? क्योंकि एक बार वो टीम कनेक्ट होने लगे, एक बार एज अ यूनिट काम करने लगे, तो इट जस्ट शोज इन योर परफॉर्मेंसेज, इन योर मैच आउटकम्स. आई थिंक दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज हैपेंड. एंड फाइनली अब ऐसा लग रहा है थोड़ा फुटिंग मिल रहा है, जैसे हैदराबाद के टीम के साथ भी हुआ. सो आई थिंक ऑल दीज टीम्स फाइनली आर पिकिंग अप द मोमेंटम. कुछ सही कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए अब बढ़ रहे आगे.
अच्छा, आप ऐसे करो, ऐसे और ऐसे कर लो. That's exactly what we need as Rajasthan Royals fans, to keep our fingers crossed as we move forward in the tournament. Monty, I really need to understand the next thing which actually is coming into my mind, and that is injury concerns. Whenever we speak about cricket, it is played in the high spirits, but it is becoming more competitive with every day. Now we saw a ball by Pat Cummins, sort of a length delivery, and it was just struck on the helmet of Joss Butler. Want to understand from somebody who has played so many games at the international level, how complicated the game is becoming, how scary it is becoming for the players to step out, because they are coming to play for bread and butter, of course. They are coming to play, keeping their families behind, and of course, staying in bio bubble, and something happens to them, it becomes very difficult. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's always going to be a concern because, IPL is probably one of the best, T20 leagues in the world. And, the standard is very high. The fielding is very high. The batsmen hit the ball out of the ground. We've seen some of the outrageous shots. And sometimes these backers are taking huge risks, back of a length balls, which they probably shouldn't be pulling. And they actually are pulling them. And it's sometimes you're going to, occasionally get the ball which is going to hit you in a awkward place, and we just hope that is that no one really gets injured on in this IPL, because a lot of the players, they go out there to entertain the fans, give them that X factor feeling when the guy's bowling 145 miles per kilometers, and short, quick, coming into your face, and you hit that out of the ground. That's what people love to see. God forbid, we don't want any sort of injuries like that.
Absolutely. We don't want any injuries. Everybody should be safe. Monty, when 30 was needed of 30 deliveries, when Rajasthan was chasing, of course, did you feel at any moment that probably Kolkata can take it from there? And where did Kolkata actually lose this game?
It's the batting, I think, like when Ashwin was saying that they should have played, some of the seam bowlers when they bowled in the 13th, 14th over. They had to go to plan B because they had such a low total. They had to play the spinners early because the wicket was slow and low. They rather have, obviously, the frontline bowlers, bowling up front, but they couldn't because they didn't have enough runs on the board. If they had 30 or 40 runs more, which was probably, the ideal total, then they could have actually, performed like they should have done. But they had to, play with the spinners, try and get early wickets because of the low total. And it really goes down to the batting. I think they've got to just work out as a batting unit, the top six, what is all of our roles? How are we going to get to 160, 180 on a consistent basis so we don't put pressure on our bowlers and we don't have to resort to, let's say, plan B or plan C when we're fielding. And I think that's the difficulty for Brendan McCullum. He's like thinking, well, I can't actually, resort to my plan A like I want to on the field. We've got to, we've got to take wickets. We've got to be attacking. And suddenly, yeah, some of the decisions may look a bit, strange, but it's because they haven't got enough runs on the board.
Yeah. अश्विन, जब हम बल्लेबाजी की बात कर रहे हैं तो दूसरी तरफ भी अगर बल्लेबाजी की बात करी जाए तो इतनी खास निकल के आई नहीं है, क्योंकि बैटिंग ऑर्डर बिल्कुल आज बदलाव कर दिया. भेज दिया आपने नंबर 4 पे शिवम दुबे को, उसके बाद राहुल तेवातिया आ गए बैटिंग करने, फिर डेविड मिलर आ रहे हैं, फिर शायद क्रिस मॉरिस बल्लेबाजी करने आएंगे, फिर रियान पराग. ये थोड़ा सा बैटिंग ऑर्डर समझ में नहीं आया. क्या आप सेटिस्फाइड थे आज के बैटिंग ऑर्डर से? क्या इस स्ट्रैटेजी के साथ आने वाले मैचेस के अंदर राजस्थान जा सकती है?
नहीं, मैं एक्चुअली सहमत नहीं हूँ आपकी बात से. मैं तो काफी सेटिस्फाइड था और मैं उसका रीजन भी बताता हूँ आपको. बिकॉज शिवम दुबे को आज इसलिए ऊपर भेजा गया क्योंकि अगर आप बॉलिंग देखें तो उस वक्त सुनील नारायण कर रहे थे, और अगर सुनील नारायण को डेविड मिलर फेस करने आते तो पक्का वो पहले ओवर में उनकी विकेट जाती ही जाती, क्योंकि डेविड मिलर स्पिन इतना अच्छा नहीं खेलते हैं. एंड दे एक्चुअली सेव देमसेल्व्स फ्रॉम पुटिंग द टीम अंडर फर्दर प्रेशर because they had already just lost a wicket. और अगर डेविड मिलर आते ही सुनील नारायण की बॉल पे आउट हो जाते तो इमेजिन द काइंड ऑफ pressure they would have been under, और वो 130 भी 160 लगने लग जाता. So it was a very smart move to get the local boy Shivam Dube in. He knows the ground. He's a better player of spin, and he was able to immediately control the game because he didn't let Sunil Narayan take his wicket. So I think it was a good move. Strategically, I think that was a great move, and also a good move to get Yashasvi in. We have spoken so much about Manan Bora, that he is one of the most inconsistent players in this tournament and hasn't given any starts. So good that they got Yashasvi in. Good he got a go, and today ended up scoring a few runs that gave the team a good start. And about Tewatia coming in at the top, because I think they were trying to maybe finish the game off quickly. They wanted Tewatia to knock a few out of the park and take the pressure off and finish the game early. Didn't fire today, but okay, that happens. I mean, probably it was not a bad move in my opinion. So it was a very situational thing. I don't see Tewatia coming out above Miller every single game. It was a situational thing where they thought कि एक दो बड़े shots लगाएंगे and out of pressure हो जाएगी team. But no, I have no concerns. In fact, seeing today's all-round performance and seeing Morris's form as well, if that continues with the ball and Sanju Samson consistently delivers and Yashasvi keeps giving fairly decent starts, I think this team is going well. Only concern being Joss Butler. Joss Butler still hasn't fired. He's considered Joss the boss, but he hasn't been bossing around at all this season. So if Joss starts firing, I think it's only uphill from here. It's only uphill from here.
तो अश्विन, कहना गलत नहीं होगा कि आप ये कह रहे हैं कि अगले मैच में भी ही कुछ इसी तरीके का बैटिंग ऑर्डर देखने को मिल सकता है, या फिर सिचुएशनल है कि वेदांत अगर स्पिनर आ गया तो शायद शिवम दुबे को आगे भेज देंगे, नहीं आता है तो शायद डेविड मिलर जाएंगे बल्लेबाजी.
और वो गलत मूव नहीं है बिल्कुल वेदांत. मुझे भी लगता है कि अगर मिडिल ओवर्स में स्पिनर्स आ रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप चेन्नई में भी देखें तो रविंद्र जडेजा या मोइन अली जब बॉल करने आते हैं I would prefer Shivam Dube to come above Miller because मुझे लगता है शिवम दुबे जडेजा मोइन अली को बेटर खेल सकते हैं देन डेविड मिलर. एंड एंड में आप डेविड मिलर को लाएं जब उनके दीपक चहर आ जाएं या कोई और लुंगी इंगिडी जब बॉलिंग करने आए तब डेविड मिलर आए. So I don't think that's a bad move based on the situation and seeing the opposition's bowling lineup.
जी हाँ, काफी अच्छा कॉल हो सकता है कहाँ पे किसको रोटेट करना है, और अगर सारे के सारे प्लेयर्स उस चीज को एडजस्ट कर पाते हैं तो काफी अच्छी चीज निकल के आएगी. आरोही, सिर्फ 5 ओवरसीज फिट प्लेयर्स हैं राजस्थान के पास अभी. आप देखिए उसमें से 4 खेल रहे हैं और एक एंड्रयू टाई और है. कहीं अगर एक और कोई इंजरी हो जाती है तो कंसर्न्स बढ़ते जाएंगे, काफी ज्यादा कंसर्न हो जाएंगे. क्या लग रहा है कि अब वो टाइम आ गया है जो हम सुन रहे हैं कि शायद राशि वेंडर को मौका मिल सकता है? क्या लग रहा है कि वो अब सही में आने वाले हैं स्क्वाड के अंदर या फिर अभी भी अफवाहें चल रही?
आई थिंक न्यूज तो राइट है कि वो आने वाले हैं, बट आने के बाद भी उनको कितना चांस मिलेगा वो अलग जो सवाल है वो तो रहता ही है. बिकॉज आप अगर देखें जब भी इनके पास ऑप्शंस भी थे तभी भी इन्होंने ज्यादा कुछ चेंज किए नहीं थे. लियम लिविंगस्टन सिर्फ बैठे थे बेंच पे, उन्हें एक भी मैच खिलाया गया नहीं. और फिर बेन स्टोक्स पहले ही मैच में इंजर हो गए तो आगे तो सवाल ही नहीं उठता उनके खेलने का. बट आई थिंक ये जो 4 ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स को लेके खेल रहे ये इनके साथ सेट है. और मुझे कहीं दिख नहीं रहा है कि ये लोग आगे जाके भी चेंज करेंगे. प्रोबेबली अगर 2-3 मैचेस ऐसे हो गए कि इसमें से वन प्लेयर डज नॉट परफॉर्म एट ऑल कंटिन्यूअसली फॉर 3 मैचेस, प्रोबेबली तब चेंज कर सकते हैं. बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कोई नया प्लेयर लाने से ज्यादा मतलब कोई somebody young, say I think somebody experienced is what they need right now. Somebody like an Aaron Finch probably is in my opinion because वो काफी experienced है, काफी खेल चुके हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में. और that stature का कोई तो प्लेयर आना चाहिए इनके टीम में because otherwise संजू सैमसन को गाइड करने को ऑन फील्ड I don't think there's anybody else who has leadership qualities in them who can guide him. So somebody like an Aaron Finch will add that balance. Plus he contribute. आपके बटलर नहीं चल रहे, मिलर चलते हैं नहीं चलते. So I think वो एक stability भी आ जाएगी squad में. So मुझे लगता है in my opinion he is the best fit in this team. But I don't know. Let's see.
जी हाँ, काफी इंटरेस्टिंग होगा देखना किसको मौका मिलता है. मॉन्टी, the next game that Rajasthan Royals play, it's after a lot of days because it's happening on 29th of April and the stadium changes. Now it's not in Mumbai, it's happening in Delhi, Arun Jaitley Stadium, and they'll be playing against Mumbai. Now a long gap after a win, is it good or bad, and what do you think? The stadium change might do any difference to Rajasthan Royals?
Yeah, well, look, I think, Kumara Sangakkara will probably be delighted that, Rajasthan Royals got themselves to a win. And it gives them that sort of break now to assess because, Kumara, he's a very much a, strategic, tactical sort of thinker. And it'll give him time to now think. First year as a coach, he'll probably think, right, what works, what's not working. And as a collectively, they finally played, together as 11 in this match. How did that happen? Why did we play so well together? So it gives them time to reflect. And I think it's probably the ideal time for Rajasthan Royals and, perfect time after a win that he can now start sort of assessing, where are the gaps? Does he need any extra assistance? How does he build this team together? So hopefully, I think, we'll see a turning point in Rajasthan Royals because they know how to win now. They know how to win as a team. Now it's about building from here.
Well, absolutely. It's about building. Monty, can we see one more spinner into the playing 11? Because now the games will be happening in Delhi. Probably a slow pitch is expected in Arun Jaitley Stadium. We might see an Indian pacer going out and probably Mayank Markande coming in.
Yeah, there's an option of that, playing an extra spinner. It's also to do with the composition of this team. But, we don't want too many slow, low pitches. I think the sort of Bunsen burners that we call them in, when they're slow, low pitches, I think a few of them are good. But I think in general, we want to see big scoring matches. And hopefully there's some, flat tracks around some of the other stadiums. But I think my fingers are crossed for that because, to be honest, Ahmedabad is going to be a turner. Delhi looks like another turning wicket. So, this could be this sort of IPL where it's a low scoring affair, and teams. I think it's not going to be individual performances. I think it's collectively as a team, 11 players, how they win. Because, in the past, we've had T20 matches where one or two players can actually win the game for you. But I think we're beginning to see now it's everyone has a role and collectively you've got to play your part.
Monty, what do you think? There was a big statement made by Ben Stokes yesterday, and he termed Indian pitches as trash. What are your opinions on that?
Well, I think I'll be honest, in the UK, we have this expectation of Indian IPL. When the IPL happens, it's like 180, 200. We love them sort of games. And, the best game of the tournament was Chennai Super Kings versus Kolkata Knight Riders. 221 against the bottom team. And they got to 200. And we saw, Andre Russell hitting it all over the park and Pat Cummins. And they're the games, I think, in the UK we love watching. We don't like low-scoring games, to be honest. So we hope for some flat wickets because sixes and fours is what really entertains us.
Ashwin and
big words for a bowler to say that, by the way.
I was just saying that coming out of a bowler's mouth that he wants to see sixes all around the park. That's really good to hear. Ashwin, my final question to you, of course. A big game coming up tomorrow, Chennai playing against Bangalore. Everybody is excited. This game is trending on Twitter from last 3 days. From the time Kolkata has played against Chennai, this hashtag CSK versus RCB, Virat Kohli versus Mahendra Singh Dhoni, everybody wants to watch it. What are your thoughts?
It's Chennai's game. No thoughts. As simple as that. Clear cut. It's Chennai's game. Far too experienced. Dhoni is far too smart to be able to crumble under any kind of pressure, and he'll definitely get the better of Virat Kohli. I'm very confident about that.
Wow, straightforward. Arohi, you are going with RCB or Chennai?
I'm going to stay neutral and just enjoy the performances because, irrespective of whoever wins, we're going to see a lot of good performances coming out of the game here.
No, you need to go with one at least, Bangalore or Chennai.
I'll go with Bangalore.
And Monty, what about you? Wearing red, going with Bangalore or probably Chennai?
Well, I actually put a tweet out with, is Dhoni the best captain? And I got over, I think, 900 retweets with a picture of me and Dhoni. Like, the love for Dhoni is just incredible. And I think whole of India just wants to see Dhoni back at his best. So I think Chennai is what India is rooting for.
Of course, Monty, since you have said that, I will do a little bit of marketing as well on this show. If you haven't followed Monty channel yet, this is the time you can follow Monty channel on Twitter and you can find great tweets by Monty Panesar. But yeah, of course, everybody loves Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Everybody loves Virat Kohli up against Chennai Super Kings, of course. And of course, MSD, the mentor and somebody who is leading Indian team right now, Virat Kohli. It will be very interesting to see. 3:30 game, and we will be bringing all the action on your way. Finally, if you are a Rajasthan Royals fan, you will be sleeping well tonight. So thank you so much, guys, for and this. And this. Thank you, Arohi. Thank you, Ashwin, and thank you, Monty Pari, for being with us on the show. Looks like Ashwin is a little sad, but that's fine because he wants McCallum to just go. And we are also going now. All right, guys.
He will go. Mark my words. He will go. Next season, you won't see McCallum. Mark my words. Remember this. You won't see him.
No, Ashwin, I'll probably agree with you, but it's just, still, you're just not a fan of McCallum, are you?
All right. Probably the right time to say goodbye. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.